It is great to see that the second edition of the Islamabad Security Dialogue will be held on the 1st and 2nd of April in Islamabad. The theme for this year's Security Dialogue is Comprehensive Security, Reimagining International Cooperation. I look forward to hearing from local and international security, economic security, health security, and technology security as well.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Pakistan faces extraordinary challenges in the wake of Afghanistan's future in post-US withdrawal scenario, worsening South Asian stability due to Pakistan-India tensions, intensifying US-China and Russia rivalry, and emerging Middle East scenario. Such geostrategic challenges demand that we reimagine security from a more holistic and collaborative lens. In this regard, Center for Aerospace and Security Studies, commonly known as COAS, is proud to be involved in second Islamabad Security Dialogue under the auspices of National Security Division of the Government of Pakistan. This is an important conclave in which think tank community can provide vital inputs to decision makers and share Pakistan's perspective on international, regional, and national security issues with wider global community under the broad theme of comprehensive security, reimagining international cooperation. I, as President COAS, look forward to 2 days of interactive and fruitful discussions during the dialogue with thought leaders, practitioners, and scholars. Please join us on 1st to 2nd April at Islamabad. Thank you.
Let us get ready for the second edition of Islamabad Security Dialogue. First 2 days of next month, that is April, a number of leading experts from Pakistan and abroad are converging in Islamabad to discuss an important theme. The theme is comprehensive security, reimagining international cooperation with geoeconomics at its core. Now, the concept of national security is evolving worldwide. Pakistan too has announced its national security policy recently, which builds on the concept of comprehensive security, which is a tripod of traditional economic and human securities with primacy to economic security, and in that context to geoeconomics. Now, geoeconomics means leveraging a country's geography for the economic well-being of its people. Pakistan can certainly turn its geostrategic location to an opportunity by building on the connectivity within the region and beyond. In fact, Pakistan can be a hub that connects 3 sub-regions of Asia, Central, South, and West Asia. Looking at the world around us, we see major power competition intensifying. Now, the fear is that the world could get divided into different camps. Pakistan has decided not to be part of any camp. So how do we then reimagine international cooperation? One possible way is for every region to focus on geoeconomics. Unfortunately, South Asia is least integrated. It is therefore important that South Asia's countries, the countries in South Asia too, get ready to engage in a meaningful regional cooperation. The bigger picture is that by ensuring economic security for all regions, the world will be far more secure and interdependent. In this context, the Institute of Strategic Studies has organized a seminar on economic security, and we will be presenting its key findings to a session in the Islamabad Security Dialogue. We wish the dialogue every success, and please do come and join us if you will find it highly useful.
Hello everyone. This is Asadullah Khan from the Center for Aerospace and Security Studies, Islamabad, on behalf of COAS, proud member of National Security Division's Advisory Board, I warmly welcome you to the second Islamabad Security Dialogue. Indeed, it's a great honor for us to be part of the very timely and important event related to comprehensive security by reimagining the international cooperation. Looking forward to a very candid analysis from the eminent national and international scholars, government officials, and the practitioners.
I look forward very much to participating in the Islamabad Security Dialogue and to learning from the experts that will be at the dialogue from all across Pakistan, but also from all across the world. This is a particularly important, a particularly timely moment to be thinking about security, to be thinking about emerging and existing challenges of security. All across the world, not only in this country, not only in this region, security has taken a new prominence. It's taken on a new prominence because we are not only surrounded by new security challenges in the traditional realm, think for example of Ukraine, but we have confronted serious security challenges that do not come from the traditional realm, for example, most recently COVID. But whether it is COVID, whether it is traditional security, whether it is war, whether it is traditional notions of insecurity, whether it is human security, whether it is economic security, the idea of what it means to be secure, and more importantly, what does it mean to be insecure, has taken on a new political gravitas. And that is the conversation that I look forward to at the Islamabad Security Dialogue. I look forward very much to participating in the Islamabad Security Dialogue and to learning from the experts that will be at the dialogue from all across Pakistan, but also from all across the world. This is a particularly important, a particularly timely moment to be thinking about security, to be thinking about emerging and existing challenges of security. All across the world, not only in this country, not only in this region, security has taken a new prominence. It's taken on a new prominence because we are not only surrounded by new security challenges in the traditional realm, think for example of Ukraine, but we have confronted serious security challenges that do not come from the traditional realm, for example, most recently COVID. But whether it is COVID, whether it is traditional security, whether it is war, whether it is traditional notions of insecurity, whether it is human security, whether it is economic security, the idea of what it means to be secure, and more importantly, what does it mean to be insecure, has taken on a new political gravitas. And that is the conversation that I look forward to at the Islamabad Security Dialogue.
Hi everyone, my name is Hussain and I'm really looking forward to participate at the Islamabad Security Dialogue to be hosted at the Pak-China Friendship Center on 1st and 2nd April 2022. I will be specifically speaking at the session on disinformation and fake news with an excellent lineup of other speakers as well. IPRI is very proud to partner with National Security Division and other advisory board think tanks on this important dialogue. We will be managing the strategic communications of this very important event. Looking forward to see you all there. Thank you.
The late Dr. Mehboob Haq, as early as the 1960s, predicted a global system in which countries, regardless of their size, their economic or military potential, would be faced by challenges such as economic inequalities, political strife, climate change, pandemics, hunger, and many other environmental challenges and many other such notions which would be beyond the capacity of individual state actors to address alone. For such notions, there is a need to develop a comprehensive as well as collective security lens. Given the current times, where individual states are marred by notions such as Islamophobia, notions such as ultranationalism, and military strife, this may seem difficult to implement, yet as the world developed somewhat a comprehensive response to the pandemic, the need is to join hands and address these problems alone, because they are beyond the purview of individual state actors. The forthcoming Islamabad Dialogue 2022, organized by the National Security Division, provides us one such notion in which the great minds across the country and beyond would come together to seek answers to such notions. Can we reimagine a comprehensive security model and a highly interdependent world? Is that a viable option? Definitely it is. Do we have responses to that? They may seem difficult to bring forth, but yes, we do have answers for that. So I wish the team NST and the organizers of this Islamabad Dialogue 2022 the very best and look forward to quality deliberations and coming together to bring together more peace and power to the world. All the best.
The theme of the Islamabad Security Dialogue this year is centered on international cooperation. At a time when the world is going through acute contestation, great power competition is accentuating. It is critical for Pakistan to look at how its vision of economic security and geoeconomics can benefit from international cooperation. How Pakistan as a country can have a dialogue with others intellectually and in terms of policy on how we move forward in cooperating for a brighter future for the Asian continent. We look forward to welcoming you at the Islamabad Security Dialogue, taking place on the 1st and 2nd of April in Islamabad.
This year, once again, Islamabad Security Dialogue is being hosted at Pakistan-China Friendship Center. I am extremely excited to be participating in this event because it has one of the most stellar lineup on board, and so given the current geopolitical environment, I think it is important to have these important discussions not only on the geoeconomic pivot that Pakistan has taken, but also understand what other actors around the world are also talking about. And so this basically, provides the public and the people in the government to come together, brainstorm ideas, and then project that in policy as well. So I hope to see you all there at Islamabad Security Dialogue 2022.
I'm Praveen Sani from India, and I'm very happy to participate in what is the flagship project of Pakistan, which is the second edition of Islamabad Security Dialogue. What struck me about this dialogue is that the whole program has been chosen very carefully. There are two keynote addresses given by the Prime Minister of Pakistan and the Army Chief of Pakistan. In addition to that, I noticed that the National Security Advisor will be speaking also, and all the previous National Security Advisors of Pakistan, they also have been collected for a special session to give their views about what they think has been in their time the security policy of Pakistan, which I think is a very wholesome way of putting across a great presentation. I am delighted to participate in my session. My session will be looking at the challenges to international security, and I am very excited to speak about on this subject, and I think I have certain definitive conclusions to share on this subject, which I shall be doing when I have my turn come on the 2nd of April. Overall, I think I expect the 2 days, April 1 and April 2, to be very fruitful and very useful for all the people who are physically here and who are joining virtually. Thank you so much for inviting me.
My name is Taimur Khan and I'm a research associate at the Institute of Strategic Studies, Islamabad. Being affiliated with ISSI, which is a proud member of the National Security Division's Advisory Board, I am really looking forward to attending the Islamabad Security Dialogue 2022 and listen to all the national and international distinguished speakers share their views and expertise on various topics ranging from geoeconomics to disinformation and emerging technologies, to name a few. I would also like to wish the National Security Division and the Advisory Board members the best of luck in the successful organization of the Islamabad Security Dialogue 2022, which is going to be held on April 1st and 2nd, 2022 this year.
It is great to see that the second edition of the Islamabad Security Dialogue will be held on the 1st and 2nd of April in Islamabad. The theme for this year's Security Dialogue is Comprehensive Security, Reimagining International Cooperation. I look forward to hearing from local and international experts on this topic. As Pakistan's recently published national security policy has shown, that the security dimensions are not limited to physical or territorial security anymore and involve matters such as data security, economic security, health security, and technology security as well.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Pakistan faces extraordinary challenges in the wake of Afghanistan's future in post-US withdrawal scenario, worsening South Asian stability due to Pakistan-India tensions, intensifying US-China and Russia rivalry, and emerging Middle East scenario. Such geostrategic challenges demand that we reimagine security from a more holistic and collaborative lens. In this regard, Center for Aerospace and Security Studies, commonly known as COAS, is proud to be involved in second Islamabad Security Dialogue under the auspices of National Security Division of the Government of Pakistan. This is an important conclave in which think tank community can provide vital inputs to decision makers and share Pakistan's perspective on international, regional, and national security issues with wider global community under the broad theme of comprehensive security, reimagining international cooperation. I, as President COAS, look forward to 2 days of interactive and fruitful discussions during the dialogue with thought leaders, practitioners, and scholars. Please join us on 1st to 2nd April at Islamabad. Thank you.
Let us get ready for the second edition of Islamabad Security Dialogue. First 2 days of next month, that is April, a number of leading experts from Pakistan and abroad are converging in Islamabad to discuss an important theme. The theme is comprehensive security, reimagining international cooperation with Geo Economics at its core. Now, the concept of national security is evolving worldwide. Pakistan too has announced its national security policy recently, which builds on the concept of comprehensive security, which is a tripod of traditional economic and human securities with primacy to economic security. And in that context,
I request all audience to please kindly submit
Geo
their cell
Economics
phones
means
at the deposit
leveraging a
table.
country's geography
I
for the
request
economic
all audience,
well-being
all
of
guests
its
to please
people.
kindly submit their cell phones at the deposit table. Thank you. Good morning, honorable guests. I welcome you all to the second day of the Islamabad Security Dialogue. Our chief guest for today, Honorable Chief of the Army Staff, Pakistan, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, will be arriving momentarily. The session will be conducted in English language. I request you all to please rise for the national anthem, which will be played upon the arrival of the chief. Following this session, we will take a break at 1:30 p.m., after which a very interesting session on challenges to international security will be conducted. We hope to see you all throughout all the sessions. Thank you. I welcome on stage Dr. Ikramullah Mohsen for Tilawat-e-Quran. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وينجي الله الذين اتقوا بمفازتهم لا يمسهم السوء ولا هم يحزنون الله خالق كل شيء وهو على كل شيء وكيل الله خالق كل شيء وهو على كل شيء وكيل له مقاليد السماوات والأرض والذين كفروا بآيات الله أولئك هم الخاسرون والذين كفروا بآيات الله أولئك هم الخاسرون صدق الله العظيم इरशाद बारी ताला है और अल्लाह उन लोगों को कामयाबी के साथ निजात देगा जो कुफ्र से बचते रहे उन्हें तकलीफ़ नहीं पहुँचेगी और ना वो गमगीन होंगे अल्लाह हर चीज़ का पैदा करने वाला है और वही हर चीज़ पर निगहबान है आसमानों और ज़मीन की कुंजियों का मालिक सिर्फ़ अल्लाह है जिन लोगों ने अल्लाह की आयतों का इनकार किया वही खसारा पाने वाले हैं सच कहा रब इज़्ज़ुल जलाल ने जो बड़ी अज़मत वाला है व आखिर दावाना अनिल हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. It is a great honor and pleasure to welcome today the Honorable Chief of the Army Staff Pakistan, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, to the Islamabad Security Dialogue 2022. I also welcome members of the diplomatic community and all our esteemed guests to the second day of the Islamabad Security Dialogue. Today, we'll feature 4 vital sessions, including challenges to international security, challenges and opportunities in international law, citizen-centric human security, and the role of emerging technology in national security. We now present to you a very brief introductory video about the Islamabad Security Dialogue. Request the National Security Advisor Pakistan, Dr. Moeed Yusuf, to please kindly come on stage and deliver his welcome remarks. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and good morning. Chief of Army Staff, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, distinguished speakers, both who've traveled from around the world and from within Pakistan, the diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen, I once again wish to thank you for attending the Islamabad Security Dialogue. This may be repetition for some of you who were here yesterday in the Prime Minister's inaugural address, but let me just quickly recount why we are here. Why does the government of Pakistan feel the need to sponsor and host such a dialogue? Most of you will be aware that Pakistan released its first national security policy earlier this year, anchored in human security with economic security as the vehicle to achieve that. When we started looking at the Islamabad Security Dialogue and conceiving it, the one thing we realized was that virtually all international conversation about Pakistan happens outside Pakistan and conducted by those who may not have actually spent enough time in this country or belong to this country to understand the deep nuances and intricacies. But then we also complain as Pakistanis that we are a misunderstood country. Our perception is artificially negative. So the solution to that problem was to create a genuine intellectual platform that would not be for the purpose of messaging Pakistan's point of view, but would provide a real avenue to intellectuals from around the world, officials from around the world, to come together and debate issues of international security, but do it in a manner that the Pakistani perspective is also provided in those 2 days. That was the starting point. It's the second iteration. We started this last year. Alhamdulillah, I'm happy to report to you that the convening power that the dialogue has already shown in these 2 years suggests that this will continue to go from strength to strength. We've had the national security policy's major themes covered yesterday and will be today: Geo Economics, human security, international and traditional security, and foreign policy. The Prime Minister of Pakistan inaugurated this dialogue. The Foreign Minister will be speaking later today. We have had panels on disinformation as part of security. We are going to talk about international law and lawfare today as themes that we feel are underrepresented in the conversation. I'm also extremely proud to report to you that yesterday, for the first time, we held something called the National Security Advisors Forum. The topic was Asian security, and we invited national security advisors from 7 Asian countries to come and speak to us about their perspective on how the region and the continent can cooperate to ensure that peace wins over conflict. And that's the ethos of Pakistan's national security policy as well. How do we move from contestation to cooperation? So once again, I want to thank all of you for being here, and I hope that you will continue remaining engaged with this dialogue, because I want to inform you to conclude that we've decided that this annual dialogue will be supplemented by monthly mini events hosted by the Islamabad Security Dialogue on various aspects of national security, but we'll take a slice at a time every month and have a debate on how we move forward on that particular aspect that we focus on in that particular month. We are going to involve not only intellectuals and officials in that conversation, but a special focus on Pakistan's university students, because that's the future of the country, and we're going to involve them directly into this conversation. So thank you once again, and you will enjoy, I'm sure, what the Army Chief has to say.
Thank you for your remarks, Dr. Moeed Yusuf, National Security Advisor, Pakistan. I now welcome the Honorable Chief of Army Staff, Pakistan, to please kindly present his inaugural address. This will also be followed by an interactive Q&A session moderated by Senior Policy Specialist, Mr. Syed Hassan Akbar from the National Security Division. Thank you. Chatham House rules, please, for the interactive session. Thank you.
Can you hear me at the back? Am I audible? Please allow me to speak from here because that rostrum is too small for me. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dr. Moeed Yusuf, esteemed panelists, speakers, international guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good morning. It's my profound pleasure to speak to you once again at Islamabad Security Dialogue. I'm extremely pleased to note that this forum, organized by a National Security Division for the first time in 2021, has already made its mark as one of the region's prominent security dialogue, and I would like to compliment Dr. Moeed and his team for this achievement. I believe today more than ever, we need to inculcate and promote such spaces for intellectual debate and discourse where people from around the world come together to share ideas about the future of their countries and the world at large, where some of the brightest minds can identify means of global cooperation rather than confrontation. Ladies and gentlemen, I speak to you today as the world is witnessing an unprecedented return to global power contestation. The resurgence of interstate conflict amidst shared global challenges of poverty, climate change, terrorism, cyber intrusion, and scarcity of resources poses profound questions for international system. The international community's collective security rests in our ability to integrate our shared goals of global prosperity through an equitable international system, resisting the pressures of great power contestation. Pakistan, as a country located at the crossroads of economic and strategic confluence, is navigating these shared challenges in our immediate region and through our partnership in the international community. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's first ever national security policy places the safety, security, dignity, and prosperity of its citizens at the heart of our security policy. It recognizes the symbiotic relationship between economic, human, traditional security, placing economic security at the core, with the ultimate aim of achieving prosperity for our citizens, with focus on ensuring domestic economic stability and growth, augmented through development partnership with the international community under our Geo Economics strategy. Achieving this requires peace at home and abroad. Internally, Pakistan law enforcing agencies and the military have given innumerable sacrifices to defeat the menace of terrorism. Since 2001, Pakistan has suffered over 90,000 casualties and more than 150 billion in economic losses. Our commitment to defeating terrorism remains unwavering. Through the selfless dedication and sacrifices of our armed forces, civil law enforcing agencies, and support of our nation, we have made remarkable gains against terrorism. This has resulted in a marked improvement in the internal security situation of Pakistan. However, the threat of terrorism and violent extremism remains and the struggle continues till we eliminate the last terrorist and cause of terrorism from our region. We are committed to preserving our gains against terrorism, and we are working with the interim Ikhwan government and other neighbors to ensure that terrorist organizations are no longer allowed to use territory of one country against another one. A peaceful and prosperous West and South Asia is our goal. Pakistan national security policy places a premium on promoting national cohesion and harmony through the precepts of unity in diversity. Our focus remains on eliminating intolerance and extremism by celebrating the diversity of our country and ensuring the right of state to preserve the fundamental rights guaranteed under the constitutions, irrespective of caste, creed, or belief. I fully realize that it is a huge challenge, but we are committed and we will not relent till we make Pakistan a moderate and forward-looking country as envisioned by our founding father, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Pakistan also recognizes that it is the regions, not the countries, that grow. That is why we believe that peace and stability in our wider regions are prerequisites for achieving shared regional prosperity and development. In this regard, our doors are open for all our neighbors. Ladies and gentlemen, for decades, conflict in our immediate West has created negative externalities and spillover effect that have adversely impacted our economy, society, and security. This is why Pakistan continues to work closely with the international community to pursue peace and stability in Afghanistan. Unfortunately, lack of financial flows and continued sanctions are creating a humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan. Pakistan has worked tirelessly to provide humanitarian aid to the people of Afghanistan in collaboration with the international community, but much more is needed. It is our collective responsibility towards the people of Afghanistan to ensure that timely and adequate humanitarian aid flows into the country. While the world, especially the West, are preoccupied by the humanitarian crisis unfolding in Ukraine, we must ensure that 40 million Afghans who face terrible conditions are not forgotten. The consequences of our inability to address the humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan will not only lead to refugee crisis, but will again make Afghanistan an epicenter of terrorism where Daesh, with its global agenda, flourishes, which may result in more than one 9/11. Therefore, good or bad, it is important for the international community to keep Afghan government's nose above the water. The performance of present Afghan government is not satisfactory, to say the least, but we have to be patient and accommodative. Instead of imposing sanctions which have never worked, we must incentivize Afghan for their positive behavioral change. While Pakistan shares some of the concerns of the international community, we believe that disengagement with Afghanistan is not an option. We urge the international community to share their concern directly with the Afghan interim government and continue their engagement to ensure uninterrupted flow of humanitarian assistance to the people of Afghanistan. Pakistan already hosts nearly 4 million registered and unregistered Afghan refugees. We continue to host our Afghan brothers and sisters, but would like to work with the international community to create stable environment necessary for their time-bound and dignified return to Afghanistan. Ladies and gentlemen, towards the east, situation along the line of control is satisfactory and fairly peaceful. Mercifully, we have not seen any major incident along the line of control since last 1 year, which has brought great relief to the people living along both sides of the line of control. However, the recent incident involving Indian launching a supersonic cruise missile into Pakistan on 9th March 2022 is of serious concern. Unlike other incidents involving strategic weapons system, this is the first time in history that a supersonic cruise missile from one nuclear-armed nation has landed in another. This raises serious concerns about India's ability to manage and operate high-end weapon systems, and equally concerning is India's indifferent attitude in not informing Pakistan immediately about an inadvertent launch of the missile. We hope the international community will realize that this incident could have resulted in loss of life in Pakistan or an accidental shooting down of a passenger plane that were flying along the path of the cruise missile. Pakistan has called for a thorough probe into the incident, and we expect India to provide evidence to ensure Pakistan and the world that their weapons are safe and secure. On our part, like early 2019, when Pakistan demonstrated its role as a responsible member of the international community by returning the captured pilot of an intruding Indian fighter aircraft, we have once again demonstrated maturity and responsibility in our response. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan continues to believe in using dialogue and diplomacy to resolve all outstanding issues, including the Kashmir dispute, and is ready to move forward on this front if India also agrees to do so. With 1/3 of the world engulfed in some sort of a conflict or war, it is important that we keep the flames of fire away from our region. In this regard, besides Kashmir dispute, the Indo-China border dispute is also a matter of great concern for us, and we want it to be settled quickly through dialogue and diplomacy. I believe it is time for political leadership of the region to rise above their emotional and perceptual biases and break the shackles of history to bring peace and prosperity to almost 3 billion people of the region. Ladies and gentlemen, with growing concern about major power contestation, Pakistan is positioning itself as a melting pot for a positive global economic interest through our focus on connectivity and development friendship. Pakistan does not believe in camp politics, and our bilateral relationship with our partners are not at the expense of our relationship with other countries. Pakistan enjoys a close strategic relationship with China, demonstrated by our commitment towards Pakistan-China Economic Corridor or CPEC. Equally, we share a long history of excellent and strategic relationship with the United States, which remains our largest export market. We seek to broaden and expand our ties with both countries without impacting our relations with the other. Similarly, European Union, United Kingdom, Gulf, Southeast Asia, and Japan are also vital for our national development and progress. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan is deeply concerned about the conflict in Ukraine. With Ukraine, we enjoy excellent defense and economic relationships since its independence. With Russia, we had cold relations for a long time due to numerous reasons. However, recently, there have been some positive development in this regard. Sadly, the Russian invasion against Ukraine is very unfortunate, as thousands of people have been killed, millions made refugees, and half of Ukraine destroyed. This is a huge tragedy which must be stopped immediately. Furthermore, despite legitimate security concerns of Russia, its aggression against a smaller country cannot be condoned. Pakistan has consistently called for an immediate ceasefire and cessation of hostilities. We support immediate dialogue between all sides to find a lasting solution to the conflict. Pakistan has also dispatched humanitarian assistance to Ukraine through special flights of Pakistan Air Force and will continue to do so. The continuation or expansion of conflict in Ukraine will not serve the interest of any side, least of all the developing countries, which will continue to face socio-economic costs of the conflict, a conflict which can easily get out of hand. Ladies and gentlemen, clearly there are visible camps at the time among global polity, those which advocate contestation and those advocate cooperation. The future vision of global security will ultimately be shaped and decided by the fact that which camp prevails. I believe the world today, at this civilizational and scientific pinnacle, is built by those who visualized and believed in cooperation, respect, and equality instead of divisions, warmongering, and dominance. Pakistan today has a unique position where it has very cordial historic relation with both the camps. Our interests are best served only if cooperation between various power centers is promoted instead of contestation, and so is the case with other developing countries. I beg your pardon. It's therefore necessary for the world leadership to support the island of cooperation such as Pakistan instead of promoting those who wish to gain from this contest. Finally, one quick and important lesson as a military man that emerges from Russia-Ukraine conflict, which must be highlighted over here, and that is that it is the preeminence or dominance of firepower over mobility, as was the case during First War. This has given a heart to smaller country that they can still defend their territory with smaller but agile forces against an aggression by a bigger country by carrying out selective modernization in equipment and adopting novel ideas. And this is the course we intend following for our future developmental strategy. I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum, ladies.